What's up, guys? Your agent Tyler Wehrung here with Keller Williams, and today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Tyler Hauser. Tyler's a senior mortgage advisor with Ruoff Mortgage. He's a super experienced lender with a lot of years under his belt. Young, motivated guy who helps a lot of clients out. So, wanted to bring him on to talk about first-time homebuyer down payment assistance. This is a question we get a lot. It's a huge benefits to first-time home buyers when done correctly. But Tyler's going to walk us through kind of the pros, the things you have to consider before you kind of take on this obligation, how to get started, and what criteria you might need. So with that, let's jump in. All right, guys, today we got Tyler Hauser with Ruoff Mortgage joining us today, senior mortgage advisor, a super experienced dude. So Tyler, appreciate you jumping on a call with us to talk about first-time home buyer down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we jump into there, give us like a 30-second background on your bio, kind of who you are and how you got into the lending industry.
Yeah, so Tyler Hauser, I'm from Hamilton, Ohio, just like you, Tyler, and grew up in the Cincinnati area. And I went to school for finance up at Ohio State. And when I graduated, I got into mortgage banking, kind of fell into it right out of college. Didn't know what I was doing. I was bartending. I had a friend who was a mortgage banker, and he said, come on, come join our team. And then I bought a duplex, and I lived in one side of the duplex and rented out the other. And that's where my passion for real estate really started. Was wow, like I overcame the challenges of figuring out how to buy a duplex, and it's made such an impact on my life now, 10 years down the road. So now I'm, back in mortgages, have been for a few years, and I'm really loving it.
Awesome, man. We'll have to get you back on to talk about house hacking. I'm a huge fan of that as well, but we'll try to stay focused today. So we get a lot of questions about, down payment assistance. And anytime you're talking free money, everybody has a little suspicion, puts their guard up and thinks it's too good to be true. So, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, man, that's down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. It does sound too good to be true, but believe it or not, it does exist. It's a real thing. So, just a quick introduction again on myself, Tyler Hauser. I'm with the Hauser mortgage team at Ruoff. I go by hashtag Mr. Closure Loan, and we're the team that always makes ourselves available for you. But yeah, so the down payment assistance, like I want to start by asking you, Tyler, you probably maybe get your gears turning a little bit. And for anybody who's listening is, do you think first-time home buyers avoid buying a home because they don't have enough cash, like in their checking and savings, they don't have enough cash, or they don't have a mom and dad that can give them money? Right? They're trying to make their bills come together. They are paying their rent on time and they're paying their bills on time. But when it comes to actually saving up thousands of dollars to cover their down payment and closing costs, do you think that's a big reason why they might be avoiding buying a home, especially at a young age?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I think it's the single biggest barrier to entry to home ownership. So yeah, that's why I definitely want to kind of learn more about this. But yeah, I completely agree.
Right. Especially like, come on, we're millennials, right? Like, what are we known for? We're known for going to school, taking out student loans to try to better ourselves and have a better career, but then kind of being underpaid a little bit and spending the first 10 years of our lives out of school, just trying to pay off school debt, save up money, and then go on with our adult life. So it's difficult to save up that cash, but we are also known for being really good about paying our bills on time and being credit worthy. But so another question, do you think that if first-time home buyers had some down payment assistance, some grant money, some money that was given to them, available for them, do you think that they would be able to afford a home sooner?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think both of us are huge proponents of home ownership. So yeah, I mean, I think this is super powerful for them. So yeah, 100% agree.
I agree. So, that's why we're talking about, the good and the not so good about um, down payment assistance, right? Because I don't want to sit here and make it sound like it's the greatest thing in the world. I just want to advise you and tell you what it's about, like the good and the bad, and you can decide. Like anyone can decide if it's good for them or not. But I want the information to be available and to be clear, because you can get told a lot of things. You can also research stuff online, but be a little bit overwhelmed and not sure if like what you're reading is accurate, right? You feel like you always hear different things from different people in lending.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say, like, with great power becomes great responsibility. So, in with most things in life, there's not a good without, another side of the coin. So let's jump into a high
Yeah.
level, kind of give us a high level rundown, what down payment assistance even is for first time home buyers.
Yeah, man, for sure. So who it's good for is credit. Let's start with credit, your credit score, okay? 650 and above for the Ohio Financing Agency down payment assistance program for first time homebuyers. Ohio Financing Agency down payment assistance for first time homebuyers. I know it's a mouthful. We call it OFA for short, OHFA. That's the program that we're specifically highlighting today, and it requires a 650 credit score. Now, keep in mind that if you have two borrowers, we always use the middle low credit score between two borrowers. That means that if your spouse has an 800 and you have a 650, her 800 has no bearing on the application.
Mm.
Your 650 is what is used for the entire application. You have three scores. We remove the lower one, we remove the higher one. We only use that middle score between the two of you, the lower one. So that needs to be a 650 and above. Second thing is the definition of what a first-time home buyer really is. So we just assume that it means it's the first time you ever. Well, really, the definition is if you have not owned a home in the past 3 years, then you're designated as a first-time home buyer. That's kind of a universal rule. That's not just OFA down payment assistance. That's just across the board for all mortgage products. If you have not owned a home in the past 3 years, they actually designate you as a first-time home buyer. But you have to actually be able to qualify for a mortgage like you normally would, FHA or conventional or whatever it may be. Down payment assistance most is usually combined with an FHA loan.
Got it. No, that's great insight there. There's often times with clients, one of them has the great credit score and the other one doesn't. So that's good insight there. And then a first time home buyer, anyone who hasn't owned a home in 3 years. So those are good little nuggets there. So how does it work? Like, how does it, where do you even get started?
Yeah, good question. So how does it work, right? First off, ask your lender during the pre-approval process. That's step number one. When you're getting pre-approved with your lender, ask them about down payment assistance, what they can offer, and let them know that you're going to go ahead and you want to make sure that's included with your loan plan as you're going to go buy a home, that you want to include down payment assistance. Your lender should be able to advise you on the tidbits of information that you need to do to get through the process. But, and secondly, how much is it? So with OFA down payment assistance, it's either 2.5% or it's 5% of the purchase price. That's how much you get in down payment assistance. So, for example, if you're buying a home that's $200,000 and you get 5% of down payment assistance, yes, that's $10,000 that they're giving you for down payment assistance that is going to be, used for the down payment and closing cost. Now, you never physically receive the funds. It's all handled in the back end. And then OFA sends the money to your loan closing, where it's used as a credit against your down payment and closing costs. And sometimes you even get a little bit of money back at closing. So what a great time to be alive,
Right. That's incredible. I mean, especially, you know, a $2,000 house, that's pretty, you know, reasonable home. You know, $10,000, I know a lot of millennials, you know, that they're mostly in the negative net worth category. That's a huge, you know, bump, and that's instant equity for them. So also link to a video over here about a video we shot about equity and kind of how it's built. But yeah, let's talk more about, you know, all this sounds great so far. What are some of the things to be concerned about, or, you know, some things you have to think about when you accept this money?
Right. Like right now, we've talked about kind of the way that it works. Let's talk about the not so good stuff about down payment assistance.
Right.
First of all, OFA, Ohio Financing Agency, they place a second lien on your home. What's a lien? A property lien is a legal claim of interest that allows the holder to obtain access to the property if debts are not paid. So in a property lien, it must be filed and approved through the county recorder's office. So if you're buying a home in Butler County and you're using down payment assistance, OFA will place a lien, a second lien, after your mortgage will be your first lien. OFA will be the second lien, and it will be recorded with the Butler County recorder's office. So why is that a negative? It's because if you ever go to sell the home, all your liens always have to be paid off, right? So you got to make sure that you can sell the home for enough to pay off any of the outstanding liens. Now, if you sell your home within 7 years, that down payment assistance must be paid in full. It must be repaid in full. So if you sell your home in 7 years, then you have to repay the down payment assistance in full. Otherwise, it's completely forgiven.
Wow. And after that 7 years, I'm guessing the lien also disappears, right? Is that
Yeah,
a
exactly.
fair assumption?
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
a great question.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, and that's typically, we see most people stay in their first home between 5 to 7 years anyway. So I don't think I wouldn't consider that a barrier to entry, but definitely something to be aware of when you go into this and accept this money.
It is something definitely to consider. You're right. 5 to 7 years is how much time you spend in your first home generally, kind of on average, you know, so that's why they designed it that way, right? It's really meant to be for a first time home buyer. It's meant to help you, not hurt you at the end of the day. But another thing that's important to know is we've been in this lowering rate environment, right? Like the rates keep going down. So you hear about refinance a lot. So if you refinance, you must subordinate it, which means keeping it in the second lien position as your new mortgage takes over the first lien position. So there must be enough equity in the home in order to qualify for that refinance. So again, you have to either subordinate if you wanted to refinance your first mortgage, you have to subordinate that OFA down payment assistance lien, keep it in second lien position. You have to have enough equity in your home that allows you to do that. Or you can do a cash out refinance is what it's called, where you actually take cash out of the equity of your home to pay off that down payment assistance. It eliminates it altogether and removes the lien. I don't want to get too much into the specifics or technicalities behind that. If you want to know more about it, then all you have to do is call me or talk to me about it. But at the end of the day, what it means is that you do have options. It's just which way do we go? The last thing, or last two things, kind of the not so good about down payment assistance is you can go into the home underwater, which means that you owe more than what it's worth. That can happen with down payment assistance. And the reason why is because you're borrowing all the money for the down payment, which would normally be cash out of pocket. So and borrowing all the rest of the money to buy the home. So you're borrowing every single dollar to cover your closing costs, your down payment, and the actual loan. So your loan could start higher than the value of the home. So that's something to keep in mind. And then lastly, the interest rate on down payment assistance programs, they are a little bit higher than your just standard loans. So you just need to keep that in mind as well. At the end of the day, the goal is to keep your monthly payment at where you need it to be. And then the down payment assistance covers all the cash out of pocket. So it's a win-win for you because, okay, I'm going to live in this home for 7 years. I don't have to have a dollar out of pocket. And my monthly payment is the same as what my rent is currently. It's a win, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all that, I think, yeah, definitely important stuff to consider. Some of that, if you're just new, that might be a little bit in the weeds on, subordinating. That's why you always keep somebody like Tyler on speed dial. If you have questions, just call them. They'll tell you, they'll be able to look into your exact situation and help you out. So awesome, man. Definitely appreciate you bringing that up. Let's jump into the pros and the benefits of why this is so powerful.
Yep, absolutely. So, cash is king, number one. In today's low interest rate world, you are better off borrowing as much money as possible, investing your cash into long-term investments. So cash is king, okay, especially for us millennials who don't have much cash. Keeping as much cash as you possibly can, keeping an affordable monthly payment, and growing your assets. Borrowing all the money to invest into a real asset like real estate, you reap the benefits of it. It's a great setup for you. So it helps buyers with little to no cash savings buy a home. Home ownership is the number one difference between positive and negative net worth in the United States. 3, appreciation. You get to enjoy the benefits of home value appreciation with little to no money out of pocket. You can sell that home in the future and use the profit that you make off of it to invest into an upgraded home, right? Your family's growing, you need more bedrooms, you want to move into a higher price point into the neighborhood that you really want to live in. Well, OFA down payment assistance allowed you to get into a home today. You're just making your monthly mortgage payment. You sell it 7 years down the road. You earn all of that profit off of it, and you use it as a down payment on your new home. You don't have to use down payment assistance again. You're in a standard mortgage, and you're in the home of your dreams that you will live in for the rest of your life. Or, like Tyler and I do, you can rent it out. Rent that home out. You go buy another home. You just rent out the other home. Somebody else is paying that mortgage for you. And OFA down payment assistance is what allowed you to get into it in the first place. And something I always tell all of my customers, because Tyler and I are both testaments to it, time is the number one resource with real estate. If you are a young home buyer and cash capital is the thing that's holding you back, then down payment assistance is perfect for you. The more time you have in real estate, the better you are. If you get started at 25 on buying a home, you could have it paid off by 45, 50, right? You start buying a home at 35, you may not have it paid off until you're 65, right? So and it's even more, think not only about paying off the home, think about the net worth that you gain through the time that you're owning the home. So if you buy it at 25 and then you sell it at 35 and you take that equity and you put it as a down payment on your dream home, right? We don't even have to talk about when you're going to pay it off later down the road. It's just the point that at 35, you already have an asset that you've been paying down. You're already 10 years ahead of the game.
Yeah, with the timepiece, it's almost like a snowball. So the sooner you can get that snowball rolling, you got debt paid, your principal pay down, appreciation. A lot of people don't consider the inflation hedging benefits of, starting a fixed interest rate mortgage early on and what that might look like 10 years down the road. Another thing that you touched on, I think a lot of people gloss over, but real estate's the only asset class that I'm aware of where someone's willing to give you most of or even all of the money up front to buy the asset. I mean, if you want to go buy some of Apple stock, I don't know of lenders out there that are willing to help you out to buy that. So, I mean, huge, way to get started in the wealth building journey. So we could probably talk for hours about benefits of real estate, but getting back to down payment assistance, how do you get it? Let's talk tactics.
Yeah. So how do you get it, right? So first of all, you want to ask your lender if they offer it. Not all lenders offer it. I worked in banking before I was at Chase Bank. Chase does not offer it. I not have anything against Chase and I'm not representing them whatsoever, but I used to work for them. They don't offer it. So it just, the point is that not every single lender out there offers down payment assistance. So you want to make sure that your lender does actually offer it. Secondly, you can actually type in OFA or Ohio Down Payment Assistance and go to their website. It's really nice. And they have a list of lenders that offer it. So, but make it crazy easy on yourself and just contact me and I'll make sure you get taken really good care of. So.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll second that piece. I'm sure OFA has a great website, but for folks who aren't familiar, make it easy on yourself and just call folks like Tyler. I mean, they're going to give you the most up-to-date information. This stuff's always changing, and with different politicians in play, we just got a new president. Who knows what's going to be up to date? So call Tyler. He will fill you in on everything you need to know and then be able to look into your specific situation. So Tyler, with that, man, I really appreciate you jumping on this call. I appreciate your time. I'll link to all of Tyler's contact info in the description below. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with?
Hey, man, I'm just a huge believer in building wealth through real estate. Get into it when you're a young age. Don't let cash capital hold you back. We can set you up with a down payment assistance program. And I'm not here to just sell you. I want to help you. We want to get you into the right payment. That's the key to this down payment assistance program, is getting someone else to pay for your down payment, but you still end up with the same mortgage monthly payment that's the same or less than what your current rent is. It's just a win-win. Rent is always 100% interest rate, right? When you pay rent, it's a 100% interest rate. Let's knock it down to what today's current interest rates are, give you home ownership. When you take that contact information he's going to provide, seriously, just text me, call me. I will respond to you. I will answer the phone call right away. You will not have any issue getting a hold of me. We'll get something on the schedule. We can get started right away. Whether you're buying a house today or we need to put you on a 6-month plan, whatever it is, I'll be there for you. I'll help you out, okay?
Awesome, man. Yeah, and it's super important when you're in this kind of environment. You're looking for answers. You need somebody who's going to turn around your call quick, and Tyler will do that. You can text him. He'll get right in touch with you. So highly recommend you reach out to Tyler. Hey, man, thanks again. Guys, if you have any questions either for me or Tyler, drop them in the comments below. I'll make sure they get to him, and we'll get you guys some answers. If there's anything else you want me to bring Tyler back on to talk about, I'm sure we could talk him into that. But again, Tyler, definitely appreciate your time, man. This was super helpful, and look forward to chatting with you soon.
All right, Tyler. Thanks, man. See ya.
Take care, buddy.